Well, in our first news, the third accused in the ambulance trial case, Richard Japa, is praying the High Court to strike out the case against him. Now, he says the Attorney General, at whose instance he is being prosecuted, brought the charges and instituted the proceedings in abuse of the process of the court and contrary to his constitutional obligations and the Articles 23 and 296 of the 1992 Constitution. He is also accusing the Attorney General of abusing his prosecutorial powers contrary to the 1992 Constitution. Well, according to him, the AJ has, through his engagements with him, that is Richard Japa, admitted that there's no case against him. An application filed on his behalf by Sorry Law says today is arguing that his continued prosecution violates his right to a fair trial. Well, there's more on this on our website, 3news.com. Also on this, and Minority Leader and former Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Kwahu Atuforsing has, through his lawyers, petitioned the Chief Justice for a live broadcast of the remainder of proceedings of the ambulance trial. His request comes in the wake of allegations of coercion by the Attorney General towards the third accused, that is Richard Japa, in order to implicate Dr. Atuforsing.
Dr. Kwahu Atuforsing, who is the first accused in the ambulance trial, petitioned the Chief Justice in a letter dated Thursday, May 30, from his lawyers. He explained on social media that this move is prompted by recent allegations of misconduct against Attorney General Godfrey Adame. Last week, Richard Japa, the third accused in the matter, claimed that the Attorney General had encouraged him to provide false testimony against Dr. Atuforsing. In support of Japa's allegations, the NDC released a 16-minute recording purportedly capturing a conversation between Dame and Japa. The recording allegedly reveals Godfrey Dame coaching Japa on what statements to make in court to incriminate Dr. Atuforsing. At a press conference on May 28, NDC Chairman Johnson Sedu Nketia asserted that the tape exposed a coaching session aimed at manipulating Richard Japa's testimony. In light of these developments, Dr. Kwahu Atuforsing argues that broadcasting the trial live would ensure transparency and uphold the principles of open justice, allowing citizens to form informed opinions and holding participants accountable.
Well, meanwhile, Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tiayeboa has welcomed the call by Dr. Atuforsing. He says it will help deepen transparency in our judicial system.
We have no objection to that request. We believe in transparency, we believe in openness, and we believe in due process. In fact, the Attorney General has on numerous occasions indicated that matters that are of public interest may have to be televised live on television and radio and other social media handles. However, the decision to telecast live or not does not rest with the Attorney General, but rather with the Chief Justice. So, subject to the discretion of the Chief Justice, definitely we are not opposed to this request for that matter to be live on TV and other media outlets. Two, we even think that for the sake of transparency and expeditious hearing, this matter may be heard day to day. So that in telecasting, it will be from day to day so they can come to the end of this particular matter.
Well, let's do some stories on SNIT now. And the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations is to inform Cabinet about the decision of organised labour not to sell the 60% shares of the 4 hotels. Now, after a series of meetings yesterday with Employment and Labour Relations Minister Ignatius Bafwewa, he said that he will meet all the stakeholders to get the issues resolved.
I wouldn't want to go into the nitty-gritty of what was discussed here. The most important thing is that I want to use your medium to inform the nation that we are not sleeping on the issue. We want to delve into the issues, but we want to be as objective as possible. That's why we want to listen to everybody that matters in this case before we can also make our position on this. Well, I don't need to state my position on only what Labour has said. I will want to listen to all other stakeholders, including labor. Don't worry, we are not far from there. If you care to know, I can mention to you, I have already met with management of SNIT. I have met with the board of MPRA, and I'm still consulting. Labor is the third stakeholder I have met. So why are you rushing? Just allow me to have a full disclosure of the issues pertaining to the topical issues around now, and then if need be, at an appropriate time, I will address you on it.
Well, on to some more stories. Head of Kwahu Afram Plains South District Security Council, DISEC, Evans Ntiri, has vowed to ensure perpetrators of the suspected beheading are arrested. He gave the assurance after a closed-door DISEC meeting with stakeholders.
Over the weekend, the bodies of 2 people were discovered in the bush. The deaths were suspected to be the results of beheadings. Renewed tensions have heightened as the herdsmen petition the District Security Council DISEC to demand justice.
May, ebeso ene May, youth are more than 20 from last year to this year. Why is it happening? And since justice.
There should be justice for herdsmen because more than 20 youths have been killed since the year 2020. However, whenever these incidents occur, we receive no justice simply because we are herdsmen. This time, we refuse to accept such an outcome. We demand the perpetrators to be brought to justice and their entire bodies returned to us before we will agree to bury them.
The long-standing conflict between the herdsmen and farmers in the Kwahu enclave spans decades. The heads of the Kwahu Afram Plains South District Security Council, Evans Ntiri, assured that the culprit would be apprehended and urged the youth to remain calm.
Sabi, nipa bibre biara otiasa so yenua. Enne eyefumbe community otna ebetimi atumi nua kanni.
We are deeply saddened by the killings and consider all the victims as our brothers. We understand that this could happen to any of us. We will take measures to prevent this menace in the future.
Efforts by the Ministry of Agriculture to encourage cattle owners to utilize fodder banks have not produced the desired results. Breaches of the District Assembly bylaws and retaliatory attacks continue to worsen the situation, leaving the owners of the cattle largely unaccountable.
In other news, the Environmental Protection Agency is pushing for a law that will ensure stiffer punishment for offenders of environmental degradation. Sector Minister Ophelia Mensah-Hayford, at a program to outline the next phase for the agency, says the ministry will lobby the next session of Parliament to pass the Environmental Protection Bill.
The Environmental Protection Bill currently before Parliament will, among other things, prescribe stiffer punishment for offenders who degrade the environment, including illegal mining. The Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation says an estimated 12 billion cubic meters of fresh water is lost annually as a result of bad environmental practices. The Sector Minister, Ophelia Mensah-Hayford, said with illegal mining on the ascendancy, Parliament must pass the law to avert a calamity.
One of my key priorities since my assumption into office is to ensure that the Environmental Protection Authority Bill, which is before Parliament, is passed, and also see to it that the necessary implementation actions are undertaken.
Former Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Henry Kokofu, said the agency will maintain the existing sanctions on industries which go contrary to the law.
We continue to face the challenge of recalcitrancy, people that do not want to simply obey laws and regulations. Enforcement of these laws, application of punishment or sanctions still remains a challenge. And I trust that the promulgation or the passing of the Environmental Protection Act will give more venom to this institution to be able to bite and bite well.
On to some more stories now, and Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Kwahu, has justified the viability of next-gen infrastructure company, which has been granted access to operate 5G spectrum in the country. At a news conference, the minister said the next-gen infraco was put together to handle the deployment of the country's 5G spectrum because there was no existing company to do so in Ghana.
Ghana is upgrading its internet spectrum to 5G from 4G. The government has already awarded the contract to Next-Gen Infrastructure Company. This has been criticized as the institution has no proven track record of operating in that space. The company received the president's authorization in August last year to commercially operate a 4 and 5G spectrum in the country after a week of establishment. But the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, SNIT, justified the move.
We want to accelerate the pace of access to telecommunications to every Ghanaian, everywhere in the country, regardless of where you are. So the best vehicle that the government thought would enable us to provide this service to all Ghanaians within the shortest possible time is to set up a neutral shared infrastructure company. And that was set up following the policy decision taken to auction it. And that is why it is a new company.
Next-Gen Infraco is one of 4 tech companies the government is partnering with to deliver the deployment of 5G services. A consortium of tech giants, including KNet and Ascent Digital Solutions, has been constituted to fund the building of a shared infrastructure to enable the deployment of the 5G spectrum. The Communications and Digitalization Minister was emphatic that government is not making any financial commitment to the project.
Is this infrastructure being set up at cost to government? No. Government is not paying for this network to be deployed. The consortium will look for its own funding. And I'm happy that they've chosen reputable technology partners that will deliver a best-in-class, world-class, cutting-edge technology for us. In addition to that, the kind of technology that they are bringing is also scalable. So you increase it as your capacity grows.
The spectrum is not for sale. The Communications and Digitalization Minister added that the deployment of 5th generation wireless cellular technology forms part of the government's conscious agenda to have the country fully digitalized by 2030. Next-Gen Infraco is expected to roll out the 5G spectrum in 6 months. When operational, it is expected to enhance internet speed for economic growth while improving rural telephony. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
Let's do some health now. And TB patients in Ghana risk dying or having multi-drug resistant TB due to an imminent shortage of essential TB drugs at health facilities across the country. 54-year-old Jojo, who has been on the medications for the past 6 months, was given 3 weeks supply of his medicines instead of the usual 1-month supply. My colleague Sarah Penkro reports that drugs are currently being circulated among the health facilities to meet patients' needs.
Checks at one of the major referral hospitals in the country revealed a complete stockout of the following essential drugs: isoniazid 300 mg, ethambutol 400 mg, clofazimine 100 mg, pyridoxine 100 mg. There was very little stock left of the rest of the drugs, which can barely last the facility for a week. 54-year-old Jojo, who has been on the medications for the past 6 months, has drugs that can last him for only 3 days before his next visit for more medication, and he's already worried.
Sometimes me call me for 3 weeks. I don't know, say now a short
I don't know if it's because of the drug shortage. I was given only 3 weeks supply, and what I have will finish in 3 days.
Jojo is just one of over 76,000 Ghanaians suffering from TB and requiring medication for survival.
We have been told not to break in taking the drugs, so I don't know what I would do if I go and I don't get any more.
What is more alarming is that statistics from the Ghana Health Service indicate that more than 30 lives are lost to tuberculosis in Ghana each day, while more than 120 people get infected by the TB bacteria daily. This imminent shortage of drugs in the country is due to the fact that Global Fund commodities for HIV and AIDS, TB and malaria remain locked up at the ports despite assurances by the government of their clearance.
For now, where there is a facility with some stock and new cases come into onto treatment, you have to find a way to pick the medication from some facilities, maybe from one region to the other. The only thing the program can do is to manage what is left.
Out of the 185 remaining containers that have been at the port for over a year, only one contains the TB medications, which the government is finding difficult to release, though it is aware of the imminent dangers. The Executive Secretary of the Stop TB Partnership Ghana, David Kwesi Afram, says all efforts to make the government understand the gravity of the situation have proven futile.
About $86,000 or so, and that was paid. Now it's left with whatever process they have to do quickly. The update I had as at last Friday was that the payment was done, but the clearance isn't done yet. And so for the past 1 month, we, the TB community, have been interested in pushing for clearance of that one container that contains TB medication. And it is still not cleared.
The experts have warned that the repercussions of the situation will not only end with a TB patient, but many more people risk being infected. These drugs need to be cleared as a matter of urgency. Sarah Apenkro, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, right here on your Election Command Center, the Electoral Commission's latest drive for voter transfer, replacement of lost ID cards and proxy voter registration has been marred once again by network challenges. The exercise, which began on March 30 at various centers, saw stagnation with EC officials unable to work efficiently. We visited the old EC head office where 5 constituencies were stationed, and here's a report.
Day 1 of the voter transfer exercise at the old Electoral Commission head office experienced network challenges which significantly affected the smooth running of the exercise. While some patrons left the premises due to the network challenges, others waited in anticipation for the network to be restored. But party agents explained that this was a normal occurrence.
For their machine, sometimes that is how it is. The challenge is that sometimes, especially the first 2 days, the network didn't help us. So people who came, they need to go back and come the following day. And that one also caused the political parties.
Others, however, blamed the Electoral Commission for not being fully prepared before kick-starting the exercise.
The system is down. Nothing is working. So they are saying because it's first day. If you are not ready, why do you come? So being it first day is not an excuse. You should be ready. So far as you've advertised it long ago that today you are starting, your system must be ready for it.
The Electoral Commission official at Ayawaso West, Lydia Ejiri, however, assured that the issues would be resolved.
Because today is the first day of the exercise, we believe that these things wouldn't halt the exercise, and we know that it will be smooth as the days goes by.
She further explains the criteria for people who are eligible for the transfer of votes.
Those who are qualified for transfers are those people who have stayed at their current residency for more than 1 year. And when they come, they are supposed to come with their voter's ID card and a proof of their new residency to the Electoral Commission, to the returning officer, for him or her to process their application.
The exercise is expected to end on June 14, 2024. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
And from the Ashanti region, William Evans Inkum also reports that system hitches delayed voter transfer and proxy processes on the first day at the Nshiaso office of the Electoral Commission.
At 8 a.m., about 100 potential voters had gathered at the Nshiaso office of the Electoral Commission to transfer their votes, but majority were here to replace their lost voters' ID card. System hitches delayed the process for close to 3 hours. Around 11 a.m., the process started and it was pretty smooth, but not without a heavy security detail.
We have always been in constant interaction with the police for them to provide security at our offices and places where we'll be having these programs. If you remember, during the last registration, they were all over. And I can say that it was mainly due to their presence that we did not witness a lot of disturbances during the registration exercise. Even the few ones that we had, I think I can remember during early days, one at Ahafuano Southwest, where some disagreement and misunderstanding led to crashes between NDC and NPP supporters. It was quickly resolved.
Well, that's all we have for you right here on the 6 a.m. News on TV3. My name is Judith Brown. A pleasure coming to you this morning. We'll go for a break. We're back with the rest of New Day. Good morning.